the number one thing that people miss the mark when it comes to marketing is the product or service itself. Because the number one thing that's gonna sell your product is people, right? And people spreading that through word of mouth.
Create your life.
Crée ta propre vie.
Create your life.
创造你的生活。
Create your life.
Crea la tua vita.
Create your life.
Ontdek jouw leven.
You better create your life.
Beautiful people, happy Sunday. This is the Create Your Life series. I'm your host, Kevin Y. Brown, and we are blessed today on this Sunday. It's a good day, a little rainy here in New York, but a lot of people running these marathons, making things happen. And Create Your Life series family, I want to let you know that we got a very special guest here in the studio, man. Very happy to have this gentleman here. We literally been tracking this brother down for about since May. You know what I mean? So happy to have him here. Very excited about the things that he's been able to accomplish. And man, I'm not even gonna say his name. What I'm gonna do is just read this brother's bio, then I'm gonna let him say hello to you. So this gentleman is a 4-time entrepreneur. More to come in that regard as well. Marketing executive, public speaker, writer. His entrepreneur career started at the age of 19. Which with his first company being acquired 2 years later. Since then, he started 3 multi-million-dollar companies. The marketing firm Millicent's, where he serves as the CEO, co-founded Growth Hackers, where he serves as the VP of Growth, and recently founded the company Pop Social, the software company that provides affordable solutions for brands to grow on social media, where he also serves as the CEO. Talking about this brother being in the C-suite everywhere. His work includes serving as CMO and part owner of the on-demand rental company Skirt. And before that, serving as CMO of the e-commerce company Sticker Mule, head of growth for new projects at Microsoft, head of marketing for Qualaroo, acquired by Zen Ventures. I mean, come on. And as a public speaker, he's traveled the world and, speaking about entrepreneurship, personal growth, and marketing. Co-authored a book, Startup Growth Engines, which was the #1 best-selling book on Amazon. He's also passionate about diversity in tech, serving as an ambassador to Code 2040, Black Girls Code, and Wonder Women Tech, as well as having his own scholarship fund for underrepresented college students. He has been called a marketing genius by Forbes, a marketing star by Fortune magazine, an innovator who's changing the consumer marketing game by Black enterprise, and most recently, one of the most influential African Americans in 2017. Beautiful people, we are talking about no other than Mr. Everette Taylor. Everette, please say hello to the Create Your Life family.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Glad to be here.
Man, so happy to have you, bro. I just did all of that, and you just came on like, yeah. It's good to be
I'm
here.
a very mellow person. People expect me to be very high energy.
Yeah.
And, being an entrepreneur, especially, it's a very lonely sport, in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. Despite having a team, it's definitely a lot of team efforts, but there's a lot of time where you're just alone, you're grinding. And so, in my formative years as an entrepreneur, I spent so much time just kind of like, I started a lot of these companies, I started by myself. So, it was, it just made me a very mellow person.
No, I appreciate that, man. And I think everybody has their own lane or their own way of doing things. And so it's always good to be authentic and just be who you are.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I actually prefer to be quiet, but I can talk, right? And I'm actually the host of a radio show. But we're going to talk about that. So I was reading your bio, some other things. I read probably about at least 15 articles on you. And one thing that I noticed is that, man, you're a man of perseverance, right? So you're from the south side of Richmond, Virginia.
Yep.
And at the age of 17, you were homeless. But you still graduated from high school, still did, grinded through that, man. Can you walk us through some of that experience, and how that came about?
Yeah, man. A lot of people ask me, why did I become an entrepreneur? Mm-hmm. And, that experience really was so formative for me because it was my first lesson that as long as you have your livelihood in the hands of another, you never know. And I was laid off when I was a teenager, and at that time, I had to take care of myself. I had to, I was on my own,
Right.
and trying to help take care of my mom and my sister.
Mm-hmm.
And, for me to, try to provide for everyone and then have to lose my job,
Mm-hmm.
it showed me, hey, it doesn't matter how hard you work.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter how good of a person that you are.
Mm-hmm.
If someone has the control of your livelihood,
Right.
you never really truly have that control. And so, going through that and having to be out on the streets, was mind blowing, because I came from the hood. I came from not necessarily knowing where my next meal was going to come from
Right.
and things like that. But like to literally have nothing.
Yeah.
It's such a humbling experience. And so everything that you do, once you hit that rock bottom,
Mm-hmm.
once you hit rock bottom, you know everything is up from there, and
That's real.
you've already seen the worst of the worst, and so every blessing that you have, you really appreciate that, and you just want to work harder and keep pushing harder, because you don't ever want to end up in that same place again. And I try to black out that period of my life because it was
Right.
so difficult. But, when I was in high school, I was a very popular guy,
Right.
and to go through that and go from being the popular guy that plays sports, was the cool guy, got the ladies, to, man, like, yo, bro, when was the last time you took a shower? Like, you wearing the same clothes. When's the last time you got a haircut? Going from being, second in my class to, doing poorly in school, and people thinking, yo, what's going on with
Right.
you? And so that was really, really difficult for me to experience, especially at such a young age, and to realize that at the end of the day, you really have yourself. And a lot of people that you think that are going to support you and rock with you and ride with you aren't going to be there during those rough moments,
Right.
and there's going to be people that are going to be very, very judgmental as well. And so that was very, very tough, for me to deal with at such a young age, because sometimes we don't figure that out till much, much later.
Yeah, much later.
Much, much later in life. And I had to figure that out very, very quickly. I had to figure out, survival, having to do whatever I had to do for money.
Right.
Being able to humble myself to ask another man
Right.
for money. Like, that's tough.
And I think that what you're saying right now, number one, we're like kindred spirits, bro, because I grew up in foster care my whole life out in California, and definitely being homeless and, looking for my next meal are definitely things that I'm very aware of, and also being popular, but people not knowing what's going on at home, or, what's going on in life outside of school is definitely something that I could definitely relate to. So you're going through this during this period of time, man, and it's funny because right now you're speaking of it as a person who's made it out of it, right?
Right.
But sometimes people are in the midst of it,
Right.
and it doesn't. When you make it out of it, you like, yeah, you know what I mean. I can block that out. I could do it again if I had to. But when you're going through it, you're like, dang, man, this is really, really tough.
Right.
What was it that kept you motivated during that time period?
I think the thing that kept me motivated was the people that I met on the street. They really inspired me, because they said, look, man, a lot of people I was meeting, they had drug addiction.
Right.
They had mental illness. They had so much working against them. And, I had people tell me, look, you're young, you're smart. You have the ability to make it out of this.
Yeah.
It's not too late for you. It might be too late for me, but it's not too late for you. And to see the generosity of the people that, didn't have anything, but would share half their food with me, or be there for me, or give me a blanket, or let me sleep in their tent, or whatever it was, just seeing that. And I was like, look, if there's anything I can do, is with everything they're giving towards me, is to make it out of here. To actually make some of myself, and not let this get me down. And another part of it is just the mental endurance that it takes to realize that, look, like, there's better out there, and you can do it, because sometimes when you're in these terrible moments in your life, that the mental and the emotional part starts to engulf you to the point that you just feel like, look, I can't get through this. I can't get through this. And I knew deep down in my heart, I knew that I just had to keep pushing. You know, I just had to keep pushing. I had to get to school. I had to, if I could just, you know, if I could get into this college or get this scholarship or, you know, everything could change, you know. And I realized that I was in such a more fortunate position than a lot of people that I was around.
How would you say that this journey or that experience has shaped you on the journey to getting to where you are now? You're such a successful entrepreneur, but, you know, oftentimes it's the people who come from the humblest beginnings that are, you know, remain humble, but also change the world, man. So how's this helped you?
There's nothing like being homeless and in that situation that truly teaches you about people. You will see the absolute worst in people. You know, I saw what people would do fighting over food, drug addiction, you know, people, you know, you just see the worst. You see the worst of people, but at the same time, you see the best of people. You just see people from all sides. And what I tell people all the time is that, I'm an entrepreneur, but my bread and butter is marketing. And marketing essentially is the ability to understand people, you know? And being out on the street, when you really get to see the raw emotion and the things that really make people tick, the things that really push people and move people and make them feel certain types of ways with no BS, right? This is
real
raw.
life. This is real customer
life.
development.
This is real life, right? When you witness that and you experience that, you begin, even for the people that do have money, you really know how people truly tick and what motivates them and what pushes them and what eggs them on, you know? And that's really, really important as a marketer, is to truly, truly understand who people are at their core when everything is, you know, torn away. And you don't see that. You don't see that typically. You know, I tell people all the time, you know, there's three sides to someone. There's the side that people see every day, right? You know, your friends, the people, whatever. There's the side that only the person that you love and live with sees, that everyone else doesn't see. Right. And the third one is when you're alone, right? And that's when you're really stripped down in who you are at your essence. But the thing is when you're homeless, you don't have anyone to impress. You don't have anyone to front for or try to feel that you have to be a certain way. Right. That's really who you are. And so you really see the human condition in people for who they are. And then on the other side is that, you know, for me, it's left this mark on me to know, like I said before, what rock bottom truly feels like, and that how fortunate I am to be in the situation that I'm in, and that I have to take full advantage of this situation that I had, you know, because I could still be out there. Yeah.
Okay. So speaking of being out there, after you graduated from high school, you went on to college to Virginia Tech. You spent some time there. You have an interesting point of view about education and your experience, man. Can you elaborate on that and tell us, you know?
Yeah, so I dropped out of college 3 times.
Okay.
So I dropped out the first time at 19 at the beginning of my sophomore year. Yeah. I had to go back to help out my family. During that time, I actually started my first company, right? And a year into that company, I tried to go back to school. I was like, I'm making a little bit of money now. I go back to school. And I can't focus, man. I'm flunking, you know, because the business is just is gravitating towards, you know, my attention towards that. And so I was like one semester, and even before the end of the semester, I was already checked out. So I drop out again, right? I end up selling my first company when I was 21. Right. Made a good amount of money, you know, came back to school, had a Porsche, could, you know, do whatever I wanted. Yeah. And I'm sitting in these classes, you know, in these business classes, and take marketing, for instance, since, you know, marketing is kind of my bread and butter. And I'm listening to these professors and I'm like, man, like this stuff is outdated, you know? Right. What I'm seeing in the real world, building companies, this is not what I'm learning in this classroom. And so to me, it just felt like a waste of time for me personally. I think depending on what you're studying, what you're doing, college may be the option for you. But to me, unless you're trying to be a doctor, there's literally everything you need to know about anything is on the internet. The internet is the greatest teacher, right? You know, and you just got to learn how you learn. And I think college is important to learn how you learn, because high school was easy for me.
Right.
You know, and I think for a lot of people, high school might be a little bit easier, and then they get to college, and it's like, man, it's
a lot to handle.
It's a lot to handle, and you have to learn how you learn, because to be successful, you have to be constantly learning and evolving. I always say, who you are today is not good enough for tomorrow. If you're the same person you are today, I mean, if you are the same person you were yesterday, man, what are you doing, man? You should always pick up some knowledge, even if it's some little thing like, oh man, never turn down that street. It's always going to be traffic down there. You know, you should always be picking up knowledge and becoming a better person and a more evolved person every day. And people learn in different ways, you know. Some people need to be in that classroom environment. For me, that wasn't the case. You know, when I was in the classroom environment, I got distracted. You know, or like I got bored. I would fall asleep in class all the time, and so
definitely. I could relate to that.
Yeah, I would fall asleep in class all the time. So I tell people all the time that, you know, dropping out of college, like going out into the world and trying to be successful, is just a crazy feat in itself when you think about it.
Absolutely.
But you ever see in a circus when those people, like, they walk the tightrope?
Yeah.
And they have like the little net
at the bottom.
At the bottom.
Yeah.
You know, going to college and getting your college degree is like doing that tightrope.
Yeah.
But having that net down at the bottom to catch you, just in case anything happens.
Yeah.
But if you decide to take a different route and not get that college degree,
yeah,
you're doing that same thing, but there's nothing down there to catch you.
Right.
So you got to work that much harder and be that much more intentional about your purpose of what you're trying to do, because you're not going to have that college degree to help you or catch you in that situation.
And I like that you said that, because what I'm hearing from you is that skill set is the currency.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
So if skill set is the currency, what would you say are some of the absolute skills that someone needs to survive today? Let's say if they decided that they didn't want to go to college, or even if you graduated from college, because here's my thing. You can graduate from college, but 10 other people, 15,000 people just graduated with the same degree.
Right.
So differentiating yourself to me can only be by having some body of work. So what is a skill set, a couple skills that you think?
Number one, and I'm a little bit biased with this, is understanding the digital space. I'm not just talking about marketing. I'm just talking about understanding how the internet works, how people consume information, how they're getting information, how they're discovering new products. You really need to understand digital. Like, you have to understand that. It's very, very important. And there's a lot of different skill sets that come with digital, whether it's content, whether it's, you know, search engine optimization, whether it's advertising. There's a lot of aspects of it, but you need to have a strong understanding of the digital space. Everything from TV to movies, everything is moving towards digital, right?
Absolutely.
And so you got to have an understanding
on
demand on that space. Number two, coding. I can't stress this enough. You know, I'm not a great coder, but I know how to code. And I also know that at the end of the day, to survive in this current climate, that you have to have some technical knowledge, right? You have to understand. You got to be able to speak the language of those people, because the truth of the matter is, and a lot of people don't realize this, these engineers, these people in tech, they're trying to cut you out, man. They're trying to use automation. They're trying to use bots. They're trying to use everything to get humans to cut costs, right? You know, Uber doesn't want Uber drivers. You know, they want self-driving cars. They're trying to get you out of here. So the more that you speak that language and the more that you can contribute from a technical perspective, even if you're not super technical, is extremely, extremely important. And then 3, finances, man. Like, understanding finances, accounting, and all those things is extremely, extremely important. Whether you're going to work for somebody or you're going to start your own thing. Like, understanding taxes, understanding finances, understanding accounting is extremely important. And then the last thing is data. Data, like understanding data, how to read data, how to analyze data is extremely important.
What are some tips you would say are, what if somebody's trying to figure out how to read data, what would you tell them to do?
So for me, I have a very unorthodox approach.
Okay.
Because I think that you cannot just take data and that's what it is. Like, some people look at data and they put no, EQ to it, emotional intelligence to it. Right. I think you have to always remember that the data that you're grabbing, that those are real people behind it. And so when you're dealing with data, don't just say, oh, this data says this, so this must be what it is, right? You have to be able to take a step back and say, hey, all right, this is showing this, but why is this happening, and why are people feeling this way? And you're gonna get deeper learnings from the data that you're looking at, because at the end of the day, behind those numbers are actual people.
Right. Oh, that makes perfect sense. What do you feel is one of the biggest hurdles? I want to switch lanes a little bit. Right. What do you feel is one of the biggest hurdles that keeps companies from mastering their marketing and growing or even scaling up? You know, because we're talking about that data being, you know what I mean, real people. But sometimes people still miss the mark and they're not growing.
All right, so this is not marketing at all.
Okay.
The number one thing that people miss the mark when it comes to marketing is the product or service itself. Because the number one thing that's gonna sell your product is people, right? And people spreading that through word of mouth.
Right.
And people aren't gonna spread something if the product sucks. Right? Like, for the things that we hear about, whether it's like a Uber or, you know, a Snapchat, whatever it is, a lot of times we hear about products from our friends. People tell us about it. Those are the biggest advocates. So you got to kill that experience, right? I'm pretty sure you've downloaded plenty of apps where you was just like, okay, I'm good.
Absolutely.
I'm deleting this off. I'm not telling nobody about this, right? So the biggest thing that you can do from a marketing perspective is build a great product and service. And obviously that takes some marketing aspects, like, you know, customer discovery, figuring out product market fit. All these different things are marketing aspects. But look, man, like, you know, Pop Social, my last company, we did over $3 million in revenue in 15 months, right? With no marketing spend. You know why? Because we have built this off of just creating a great product and knowing that people need this. People want to be able to grow their brand and their audience on Instagram. People want to reach new people on Instagram and, like, you know, build up things for themselves. Or it's a great product and it sells itself. Like, people just spread that through word of mouth. So we're not running no ads. We're not doing all this content or anything like that. And, you know, as we scale, we'll start getting more into that you know, marketing tactics. But at the end of the day, we're just so profitable off of just people's spreading the word.
So that means that also you're providing a great user experience. I feel like that's super important.
Yeah.
Okay. This is more so the overall, when we talked earlier about your journey. How important have habits been for you? What are some of the habits that you had to break, and what are some of the ones that you either had to build or sustain to get to where you are now?
I think a lot of unhealthy habits got me to where I am today, to be honest.
Okay. And give us a couple.
Oh, man. Number one, lack of self-care, like, to the point where I wasn't eating healthy, eating right, going out, taking time to go to the gym, take care of myself, eat healthy. Like, literally my day was optimized for me to work. As soon as I woke up in the morning, I woke up and I looked at my phone, I looked at my laptop, I jumped into emails, I jumped into analytics, I jumped straight into work. It was no pause button in my life. And that caused me to, you know, fracture relationships with friends, you know, not being able to have, like, a love life, you know, all these different things, because my habit was, like, literally, it's me and my computer and my business, and I'm gonna make this happen. I would literally wake up to my computer and fall asleep to my computer.
That was your relationship.
That was my relationship. That was bae, right?
Right.
Like, I would fall asleep. I would literally wake up and I have my laptop right here, you know, and I wake up and I get right back into it, you know? And so that was just very, very unhealthy for me, because even, you know, in terms of, like, food, I wouldn't cook for myself, because I would say, look, it's quicker for me to just order some takeout, get some, so I can just focus on work. You know, like, recently I lost 25 pounds, you know, and that's because I've just started creating, you know, just living a different way. You know, when I wake up in the morning, I don't touch my phone. I don't touch my laptop. I meditate, I pray, I just clear my mind, you know, just appreciate.
Morning routine,
I just appreciate that. And, like, I've been doing that over the past year. And not only from a emotional and mental perspective am I so much happier, I'm so much more productive, because I'm so much more intentional about the things that I'm doing that day, instead of just jumping into it. You know, because people think, they think you working hard, and like that's productivity, man. And like what I've learned from some OGs in the game is that, man, you got to be able to work smarter, not harder, right?
Yeah.
Like legitimately. And I think especially within the Black and brown community, like we're taught like, yo, grind. And then I mean these white folks that are literally working 4-5 hours a day and multimillionaires because they know what they're doing. They're using their time. And for me to, run multiple companies, I can't devote 8 hours to each company. I got to figure out how I'm going to devote 3-4 hours to this company, 3-4 hours to this company, 3-4 hours to that company.
Touch on that, man. You in the C-suite of multiple companies. How do you balance that?
A great team, man. A great team. Like building great people around you. That was another bad habit that I had was, not trusting people and instilling trust in people to do the things that I needed them to do.
How'd you overcome that?
Man, honestly, depression and like getting to a point where like, man, I was going to have a breakdown or something because I wasn't sleeping. Like I will wake up like 6-7 in the morning, right? Work all day, work till like 3-4 a.m., go to sleep and do it again. Like literally.
Daily. I can totally relate.
Daily. So I was getting like 2 to 3 hours of sleep. I was driving myself crazy, and it was getting to the point that the work that I was doing was starting to get affected, and then, for instance, like my marketing firm, we had clients that were like complaining like, yo, what's going on? This isn't happening, or like, that's not happening. And so building a strong team around you that can take a lot of that load and being able to trust people is a huge part. Like if you can find somebody that can do the job 90% as good as you, even if they can't do it as 100% as good as you, it's better for you to free up your time and let someone do that 90%.
Absolutely. So you talked a little bit about depression and mental health is super important. Did you seek out a therapist or anything like that to help you make it out of that point in your life?
Well, first it was me reconnecting with some people that I cared about. Like it's so interesting when you're on your grind as an entrepreneur. Look, talk to your family, man. Talk to your family. Talk to the people that you care about. Try to avoid these like wasteful conversations where it's like, oh, hey, Ma, what's going on? Nothing, just, hanging in there, da-da-da-da. You're having, those conversations are so wasteful. They don't really mean anything, And, like, to be able to go to my mom and say, hey, like, I'm feeling this way, and I've been feeling this way since I was young. What could have contributed to that? Maybe why am I the way that I am? And then when you really start speaking to people and really ask them, yo, give it to me straight. Like, give me honest feedback about me, my life, the things that you're seeing. It's very, very important to have that clarity when you finally do go to, and I did go to a therapist, but I was awakened in so many ways by the people around me that I hadn't had real, genuine conversations with or had real insight. And like, it shows you the people that truly care about you, because the people that truly care about you are going to really going to give you that insight. About
and
yourself. They know you.
Yeah, and that makes a huge difference. All right, well, man, beautiful people, we are going to cut to a musical break, and we're going to be back with Everette Taylor. So if you have any questions for this brother, call in 212-650-6903 or hit us up on Facebook Live right now or on Instagram as well. So here we go with Gold Link by Crew featuring Shy Glizzy.
That's my song, man.
Beautiful people, this is the Create Your Life series. I'm your host, Kevin Y. Brown, and we are back with Mr. Everette Taylor. Everette, you here with us?
Yeah, I'm here, man. I'm here.
Okay, man, I want to switch modes, man, and kind of just give you some rapid-fire questions.
All right.
What do you feel like is the top tech that you're using right now to make your business run smoothly?
The top tech to make my business run smoothly? Stripe. Like it's super important, man. Like and if you guys don't know what Stripe is a processing platform. Like, without Stripe and the data that we get from Stripe and being able to process people's payments, like my whole, like essentially with Pop Social, Skirt, Growth Hackers, the only company that doesn't run on Stripe is my marketing firm. Like that is so essential.
Which is Millicent's.
Millicent's, yeah.
Right? Named after your mom.
Named after my mom, yeah.
Yep. Shout out to moms.
Yeah.
Okay. What book would you recommend to our listeners to read or that has been very impactful on you?
I think, to be completely 100, my favorite book is the Harry Potter series. But in terms of like a book that I think is good in terms of like building your career, it's a book called Hacking Growth by Sean Ellis and Morgan Brown. I actually started Growth Hackers with those two gentlemen. It's a phenomenal book to really understand how people think and to understand how to really drive growth when building a company. I think it's definitely phenomenal.
Okay. Favorite quote or model that you live by?
I said it already, man.
I like it.
Yeah.
Give it to us again.
Yeah, it's who you are today is not good enough for tomorrow.
I like
Everette
that.
Taylor.
Everette Taylor. What was how did that one come about?
I just realized that, someone asked me, how did you get to where you are now? And my answer was relentlessness. Relentlessness and like self-improvement. Relentlessness to try to constantly improve every single day. Every single day I was trying to learn new skills. Every single day I was trying to learn from my mistakes. Every single day from my business and personal life, constantly always trying to say like, yo, all right, we did this. What can we learn from that, right? And then in my personal life, hey, how can I be, if I'm in a relationship, how can I be a better boyfriend? How can I be a better son? How can I be a better friend? All those, a neighbor, whatever it is, I'm constantly always trying to improve.
Okay. This is something that I saw from another article, and I thought that it was so important. You said that money and success don't bring happiness. What do you feel does bring happiness?
Man, I think happiness is internal, man. And, it's taken me a very, very long time. I think there's contributing factors to happiness, right? Being with you guys today, that makes me happy. That makes me, that contributes to my happiness, right? To be with young brothers doing amazing things that appreciate me and appreciate my time. That's, that makes me feel good.
Yes.
But in terms of being happy, that is internal, right?
Yeah.
I remember my ex-girlfriend, I remember telling her like, yo, I just want to make you happy. And she's older. She was like, look, I make myself happy. I'm in control of my happiness, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
She put me on game. And so ever since that happened, I really thought about that. And it's true. No matter what happens, all the negativity that's going on in your life, all the things that you're going through, at the end of the day, it's about how you cope with those things and how you deal with those things and how you flip it. And so at the end of the day, that happiness is derived, from within. And so there's a lot of contributing factors, whether it's basketball, family, my businesses doing well, whatever it is, comedy. But at the end of the day, it's internal.
So you can hoop?
Yeah, I can hoop, man.
All right. We're going to have to put that to the test, man.
Okay.
And you do comedy?
I don't do comedy.
Okay.
I don't do comedy, but I love comedy. I love stand-up comedy. I mean, it's one of the things that I love to do for self-care is to check out some...
If you in LA, man, you got to check out my boy Justin Hires.
Justin Hires.
Yeah.
Where does he perform?
Don't give me the line about which club, but I can get you that info, man.
Okay.
He's a real good brother.
Cool,
he's actually one of the lead actors in the MacGyver series, and then he was for the Rush Hour Reload. Relaunch. He was Tucker. So real cool, real good brother, man. This is a question that nobody can escape the Create Your Life series without answering. What 3 jewels would you give to someone looking to create their best life?
3 jewels for someone looking to create their best life. Number 1, self-care. No matter what you're doing, no matter what you're going through, man, you gotta take care of yourself at the end of the day, and really defining what self-care looks like for you. And it doesn't have to have any quantitative value in terms of money and things like that. For me, self-care for me is like, I remember when I used to eat, I would literally take conference calls and meetings and just not even enjoy my food. And now every time that I eat, I put my phone down. If I do have my phone, I'm reading articles, and I literally just enjoy my food. That's self-care for me. Yeah. And self-care keeps you sane, man. Self-care keeps you sane. Number 2, staying true to who you are. Staying true to who you are, because no matter what happens, here's the thing. If you out there code switching, trying to switch it up, doing this, doing that, look, most people, they don't care about you at the end of the day. You know, at the end of the day, you know, I was having this interesting conversation with a friend who some of his friends got laid off from his job, and he felt so, like, some of the people he knew, they weren't necessarily friends, and he was like, man, like, I feel so bad. And I was like, look, man, if you were on the other end, they're going to go on with their lives, man. Like, they're going to go on with their lives. They're going to be like, oh, man, I'm sorry. And in a couple of weeks, people keep moving. People keep doing the same things. And so when you're trying to switch up and try to be something that you're not to get XYZ result for this company or this or that, man, at the end of the day, does it really matter? Are you really truly happy with who you are? And if you can't be who you are at the end of the day, does it really truly matter? You know what I mean? And so, like, really, really staying true to who you are. I'll walk into a board meeting in a hoodie and a cap and some Yeezys and call it a day, man, because at the end of the day, I know what I bring to the table. And the last thing is, like, build a real skill set. Build something that you can always lean on at the end of the day. If all else fails, you know, I always tell somebody, you don't have a skill set until you're at a point where if you lost everything today, you could go and lean on that thing. Right?
Like
if I lost everything today, I could go on the internet and go on to, like, one of those Upwork sites and do social media marketing for somebody or digital marketing or something. I have skill sets that no matter if I lost everything, I have a skill set that is transferable and that I could go out there right now if I lost everything and still be able to make a living.
Okay. Wow. What's next for you, man? What's next for you? These ventures that you have going on, and I know you got a surprise for Create Your Life family. So please bless us with that information as well.
Yeah. For one, I want to shout out my Uber driver today. On the way here, I forgot this. I was going to do it at the beginning of the show. One point that I want to make is the people in your life that truly, truly support you. You gotta hold them down and keep them around. I was in my Uber today, and I said I was going to this radio station. He says, hey, my girlfriend is an artist. Would you mind me playing her music for you? And he took that risk because he's so supportive of his girlfriend and loves his girlfriend that much that he took a chance that I could have disliked the music. Right. I could have felt some type of way, you know, like, oh, why are you doing this right now? I just want to listen to the radio. But he was that supportive. And there's not going to be a lot of people in your life that's going to be that supportive where they're going to put their own livelihood. You know, I could have been like, oh, why is he doing this? 1 star, right? Putting his own livelihood and job on the line to support somebody that he cares about and loves. And so, like, make sure that those people that really hold you down and are going to go that extra mile for you, you keep those people around no matter how hard you're grinding. Like, you got to keep those people in your life. And I think that's super, super important. But, yo, shout out to his girl, man. I thought that was really dope and inspiring. But anyways, next for me, the big focus is Pop Social, man. Pop Social, popsocial.co, popsocial.co. It's a tool for people to build their audience and their brand on social media, more specifically Instagram. And I wanted to create a tool where it was going to be affordable for, you know, any Joe Smo to be able to go on there and be able to build. Everyone needs more followers. They need to reach more people, whether you're building a company, whether you're building your own personal brand. And so that company has been phenomenal. We did $2 million in our first 12 months, $3 million in the past 15 months.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. All bootstrapped. And so I'm really, really excited about where that can go and the potential that it has. And we want to create other verticals where we can help you reach your audience on Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat and LinkedIn and Pinterest, everything. And so that is definitely the focus moving forward. And I actually created a code for your listeners.
Yes, thank you for that.
Yeah, so if you guys want to grow your followers on Instagram, grow your audience on Instagram, reach new people, build your brand, it pays for itself. I have a code, Is it CYLS?
That's correct.
CYLS, right. CYLS is the code, and you get 50% off your first month, so it's only $25.
Man, thank you. That's a blessing.
And it's an investment. You don't have to spend all this money on Instagram ads and things like that. Like, this is going to help you reach thousands of new people a month with your brand or your personal brand. And so use that code CYLS, and you're going to get 50% off using popsocial.co. And then honestly, man, I'm just trying to figure out more ways to work smarter and not harder, man, and continue to build my brand and be a blessing to others and give back. I want to give out more scholarships. I want to be more active in the community. I want to do all these things. So I have more goals outside of business that I really want to. I want to, be happy, find love, do all these things, like things that are completely aside that you wouldn't even expect from me. It's like, I think that's more important. Like being able to spend time with my friends, my family,
right.
Like getting back to the basics is really what's next for me.
I love it. So how do we stay in contact with you?
Easy, man. It's just my name on social media. So Twitter and Instagram is just at Everette.
Brother's so official, got his name.
Yeah, EVERETTE. Just at Everette. Holla at me.
I really appreciate you being here, spending the time. I know you literally came into New York for the weekend. Yeah. I'm so happy that you were able to make it time in your schedule to be on the show, man.
For sure, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man.
No, always love.
For sure.
Beautiful people, if you enjoyed this episode of the Create Your Life series, be sure to download it from our podcast, which is available on createyourlifeseries.com, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and Google Music. Also, be sure to leave a review of the podcast. You can catch us live on Sundays from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time via 90.3 FM in New York, or on Facebook Live at facebook.com/KevBrown1. We encourage you to participate in the conversation on Facebook or call in at 212-650-6903. Follow us on Instagram at CYL Series and at Kevin Y. Brown. Be blessed, and we'll see you back here live next week.
Create your life.
Crée ta propre vie.
Create your life.
创造你的生活，
Create your life.
Crea la tua vita.
Create your life.
Und skip your liver.
You better create your life.
Create your life.
Create la vie.
Create your life.
Create your life.